Hello and welcome to AI Live. I'm your host, Vincent Martinez, and today I'm also the guest. Now don't worry, I'm not interviewing myself. Joining me, you may remember Taylor Bareford, who was one of our faculty spotlights. Well, Taylor is also the gallery director at the Art Institute of Atlanta. And the reason that I am the guest is because I am featured in their gallery as with a solo exhibition called Fragmented Florals. So Taylor is joining me today to talk about the art show. So I'm really thrilled, and I'm actually really honored to be here. But Taylor, the script has been flipped. Today you'll be doing the interview, and I will be the interviewee. So welcome to AI Live, and thank you.
Thank you. I mean, it's fantastic to have you in the gallery finally. I've been wanting to do this for a really long time, and I mean, the work just looks phenomenal. So, I mean, tell us about this. Tell us about Fragmented Florals. Thank
you for that. That makes me feel really good. So Fragmented Florals, this became a labor of love for me. In short, the series, it's about beauty in darkness and death and rebirth and the emotive power of flowers. I mean, I've been a flower fan most of my life, but this series specifically came at a really dark time for me. And flowers are not dark. They're happy and they're beautiful, but they often will change form and really gain the most character as they near the end of their life. Mm-hmm. And what happened with me, and I think any pet owner can absolutely relate, was I lost my dog, the love of my life, after 12 and a half years. And I was just at such a depressive, devastating place with that loss, with that void, that I thought, well, I'm going to paint and just, get my emotions out on canvas and just let go and let be. And this series developed as a result of that, as a result of that loss.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting just how something that dark can turn into something beautiful like this, and it's a good reminder, for your past experiences with your dog and stuff like that. So my big question is, when I went to undergraduate school, I started as a computer programmer, and I just kind of fell into the art world. Yeah. Have you always wanted to be an artist, or how did that come around for you?
The short answer is yes. I mean, I remember one of my earliest recollections, I had to be either 3 or 4 years old. I was still living in Cuba, and I remember starting to draw already at that early age and just being fascinated with the process. So all through school, through high school, I was the artistic one. And when I started college, I kind of exaggerated the truth. I couldn't tell my Cuban parents, we came to this country for a better life. I'm going to be a starving artist, Mom. No, I had to say, I thought I was going to do graphic design because I could make money from that field. The truth was, no. I was working towards a bachelor's in fine arts, a BFA, and I did that. It was a great experience. I majored in photography and in ceramics, and it was soon after I got my degree. I don't know, working with wet clay just wasn't for me. Yeah, I love it, but it just wasn't for me. And I also wasn't ready to go to graduate school. So it was 87. And I learned of a school up in the mountains of North Carolina called Penland School of Craft. Mm-hmm. I fell in love. It was love at first sight. I got to the campus. I've never seen mountains before. I mean, I'm Cuban from Miami. I'm used to beaches and palm trees, and the Blue Ridge Mountains are striking. But Penland School really changed my life. It was at Penland that I studied so many different art mediums. I did do some ceramics. I did basket making. I did weaving, textiles, photography, of course, and bookmaking. It was just an amazing experience. And 30 some years later, I'm still very much connected. In fact, I'm honored to say that I now serve on the board of trustees of Penland School of Craft.
That's fantastic.
And while I was at Penland, I worked on a body of work for graduate school. It was a series of in-camera, and you would appreciate this as a photographer. It was in-camera. This is way before digital, by the way, obviously. That didn't even exist. So I did in-camera, multiple exposures, and I applied to the Rochester Institute of Technology, RIT. I was accepted, and I spent the next few years in the graduate program and earned my MFA in photography and the imaging arts. And I was a working artist. I take it back. I was working as an artist, but I was starving. I was starving artist, but I was getting into galleries, and it was very inspiring. But I wanted that idyllic artist life. This was the era where the major galleries in New York would pay an artist a stipend and housing, and you get to work. Well, those are very far and few between, and of course that didn't happen. Yeah. Life happened, and I shouldn't say I ended up in Atlanta, but I moved to Atlanta, and I've been here for more than 20 years. And I decided, well, if I can't make art, or if I don't make art, maybe I can teach it. Yeah. So I started teaching at Grady High School, and I always loved fashion almost as much as I loved art. And before I knew it, I was teaching fashion design at Grady, and I ended up building and creating a fashion design curriculum for the school. So 18 years later, that program is still active. And then I've been teaching fashion design at the Art Institute for the last 5 or so years, until this past year, where I am now the host and anchor of AI Live. So again, the short answer was yes, I've always wanted to be an artist. I always knew I would be an artist. It just took a long time to get to this point today that I am working and producing as an artist, and just feeling really good about it.
Well, it's kind of interesting because all these different things that you've done, the ceramic, the photography, and all that, you can look at these paintings and kind of see a lot of those influences. I mean, especially the photography aspect with the flowers and things. So what was your creative process behind this? Like, what got you to use the particular mediums and things that you're doing in these paintings?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm still trying to answer it myself and figure it out. But I'm glad you said what you just said, because when I look at this work, I do see these references that only I remember from living at Penland School or being at RIT, things that I liked. I mean, I realized I was working with spray paint, even 25 years ago. Not in this way, but still, I was using that as a medium. Mm-hmm. So my creative process, well, I think I want to say it's complicated. It's not complicated. It's complex. It's multifaceted, multi-layered, kind of like the work here. It's a lot of layers here. And one of the, tactics or an approach that I took was releasing and just letting go of control. That's been one of my obstacles, and I think that many artists or aspiring and emerging artists may experience this too. I would overthink a piece in my head to the point where it was executed, and why would I even bother starting, because it's done. Mm-hmm. And with this body of work, I said, Vincent, man, you are in your 50s now, okay? Your younger self would have overthought this entire collection and maybe not produced anything. This person now said, no, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to, whatever I'm feeling. And this is, thank you to my beautiful, dog that inspired this. But I thought, I am so upset. I'm just how do I feel? Like one piece that's not in the collection, I know you saw early on, is visually was so dark. I was literally crying in the studio painting because I was just that upset. But I was allowing my emotions to really do what it wanted to do. I also thought, Taylor, I thought of the abstract expressionists as well. You know, their approach was feeling their emotions through paint, through the medium itself. I found when I was layering water-based paints mixed in with spray paint, and I'm not scientific, so and I don't know how to explain it well, but the relationship of the paint and the way that they reacted and interacted with each other was very interesting to me. One of the toughest parts was knowing when to stop. Yeah. When knowing when it's like, okay, it's done. I need to just let this be and not overwork the piece.
Yeah, that's very tough.
Oh, it is. It is very hard to do because you just want to keep doing, especially when you like what you're doing. And then part of it, if I'm going to be completely frank, and I say this with extreme caution to our younger viewers, it took me decades to get to this point, but I also, to an extent, rejected my formal art training. Mm-hmm. So as we've all been through art school and we're professors, I mean, I've taught foundation courses where well, what do you call them? The elements of art, principles of design. I mean, all those factors do come into play, of course. I mean, you want the right scale and proportion and balance and negative space and positive space. But as far as materials go, I wanted to use unconventional materials as well. Some of these are house paints. Spray paints are not conventional. I didn't grow up using spray paint.
Yeah, but it's pretty contemporary now. I mean, so many artists are working in that. It's great. I mean,
so I thought, what would my college professors cringe about? I said, you know what? That's exactly what I'm going to do, and that's what I did. And you're right. Spray paint is very contemporary and very hip. I do like the neon colors. I'm attracted to those. And about 3 pieces in, I looked back and I thought, okay, I need to expand my color palette. I'm always going to feel that void and that loss, but I need some happy, and that's where the neon, the fluorescent greens and pinks and yellows started to creep their way into the paintings.
Well, it goes to show this is a healing process as well, because things are starting to, the love is coming out more than the darkness now. So, I mean, it's showing in the paintings, which is fantastic.
Thank you.
Kind of brings us to the point, like other aspects of it is the titles. I mean, there's a lot of really good titles here. Can you explain a few?
Yeah, I guess. And you're going to either roll your eyes or laugh or say, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Again, it's about doing what you want to do. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's about doing, I mean, again, students listen to your professors, but you reach a point in your career that, you know what, it's what I want. Yeah. You know, I mean, and art is so subjective anyway. So when I'm in the studio, part of my creative process is listening to music. Okay. And, I'm a child of the 80s and 70s, late 70s and 80s. And I'm by myself in the studio, so I just put on the Sonos and blast music. And I don't know if you've ever done this. I can't be the only one, but when I have suffered or experienced a loss, whether, my grandmother, another love of my life, she's gone, my stepdad, I start finding lyrics in music. All of a sudden, I'm hearing the same songs I've always listened to, but there are lyrics and phrases that, oh my gosh, that makes sense. This is relating to this loss. Exactly. So with the titles, Stay With Me, and To Be As One, in Spanish, No Me Dejes. I mean, those are song lyrics. They're not titles, but they're actually, Stay With Me is. It came from, and I want to really, really date myself, but if you remember Bananarama, I had to think about it. Bananarama, they split off for a little bit, 2 of the sisters, and they formed a group called Shakespeare's Sister, and they had a song called Stay With Me. It's actually a really sad song. And I was listening to it, working, and I thought, oh my God, Stay With Me. So that came from that. And then my really big piece, the 60 by 72, is Let's Dance and, wait, what is it? Let's meet. I can't even remember. You got me flustered.
Middle and dance.
There you go. Let's meet in the middle and dance. For that one, and I'm revealing all my secrets, Taylor. Okay? But I was listening to some music, live music, on Howard Stern with Lady Gaga. And she's talking about the inspiration for her song, The Edge of Glory. And she's talking about how that was inspired by her grandfather, but it's also about, she says, accepting the fact that you may never reach that glorious moment in your life till you die. At the point of death. So live your life to the fullest now. Live at the edge of glory. You know, she says, let's just all meet in the middle between heaven and earth and dance in purgatory. And I'm painting, and that was one of my final pieces in the series. And I thought, you know, we can all just meet in the middle and dance. And I wanted to choose titles. I should rephrase that. Let me just, titles. These titles were inspired, while they're from personal reflection, they're universal enough. Let's meet in the middle and dance, or stay with me, can mean different things to different people.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I didn't want them to be so specific that they're just so self-referential that it's all about me, and you know. So I wanted them to really translate to other people as well, to the viewer. You got to think about the viewer, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So is that good?
Yeah, no, that's
good.
Fantastic. So I guess what's next? I mean, what sort of new works do you have coming in the future?
That's a great question too, because there are some new things that are coming in the future. I did start some new work yesterday, in fact. And the thing is this, this work is a point of departure. I don't start a brand new series and I'll never work with florals again. The flowers are still going to be there. I'm still going to take those images. I love butterflies. You're going to start seeing some butterflies. There's a little bit, that one, the mariposita, which is Spanish for little butterfly. That's when I first started putting some butterflies in there. I started working with them some more as of yesterday, in the past week. And so I'm going to continue working with flowers. I'm going to continue painting with florals. And I am going to start a new series. It's kind of tongue-in-cheek, a little sarcastic, naughty, called the Marital Bliss Series. So I've been married for almost 2 years now, and happily married. I should point out.
A dark series.
No. But you know, there are phrases that we say to each other sometimes that are like, "Oh my God!" And I thought, you know, I started jotting them down. I put them into my notes on my phone, and I'm going to do a series featuring those words, those phrases. And again, some are naughty, you know, so I'm going to censor myself and not reveal them today. But yeah, there are new works in the works.
Well, fantastic. That's great. I'm looking forward to seeing them.
I'm looking forward to doing them. Yeah. So I guess we've come to that kind of awkward point now. I've never had the script flip this way before, I guess. So now I guess
it's my show now.
Now, Taylor, I guess now I have to go back to being host and not guest. So really, I mean, I thank you for seeing this. I mean, you know, this show didn't just happen. I do want to be clear. I mean, just because, you know, we knew each other. I mean, you wanted to put a good show, you saw the work, and then you offered me the solo opportunity. And I'm extremely, extremely humbled and grateful to you.
Absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. And I'm grateful to the Art Institutes. So thank you, Taylor Barefoot.
Thank you.
For joining us today and coming back on AI Live. So
it's my pleasure.
Until next time.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. I'm your host, e.vincent Martinez. You know, there's so much to watch right here at ailive.aii.edu. It's jam-packed with interviews with industry leaders, panel discussions, school events, and much, much more. Plus, you get to interact live with our guests in the Q&A sessions in our premier events. There are current shows, or you can delve into our archive for some interesting industry information that you may have missed in our AI Live Rewind series. So join us every week as we showcase talented professionals in your industry, creating an immersive experience and a look into your field of study. Hey, school was never this much fun. Get engaged. We're AI Live. Come check us out.